What's good, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. Y'all, I don't know why this story has tickled me so much, but I found it hilarious. So, Sean Charles Dunn walked up to one of the officers who was occupying DC, and people are just fed up, right? They're going to work, not getting paid. They're tired of all the ICE raids. They're tired of, this regime pretty much with all the rules and regulations. And so he takes his Subway sandwich. He walks up to one of the officers. I don't know if it's an ICE agent or not. There's just cops everywhere in DC. But he walks up to one of the officers um, and smacks him with his Subway sandwich and then takes off running, right? It's the funniest thing. And so he was charged with a misdemeanor, assault charge. he hit him with that sandwich and just took off running. He hit him right across the chest, y'all, and took off running. I don't know why. It just made me laugh so much. I feel like because it was such a perfect representation of one, just how unserious the United States of America. Like Americans are just unserious people. Two, I feel like only somebody who looks like Sean Charles Dunn could do that and get away with it and run away, right? Anybody else would have been on that pavement. Anybody black, brown, they might have even, tased a Asian or two, Native American. You would have been tased, beat down on the ground, handcuffed, thrown in prison, all that stuff. But he didn't do any of that. He hit him across the chest with the Subway sandwich, took off and ran. But more importantly, I feel like, you know, um, it just gave levity to the whole situation, right? Like the fact that they are really sending the military, the National Guard, ICE, whatever you want to call it, against American citizens, right? To occupy American citizens, our cities, right? And just over policing, it's just like just to see, that this person who has a bulletproof vest, all these different weapons, be hit with the Subway sandwich. And the fact that it's a corporation, like if it was like a homemade sandwich, I don't think it would have landed. But here's the Subway sign, and people, you just, how you just get so frustrated and fed up with everything. Because he probably spent, if it was a foot long, it was probably $10 or more. And it's, reminding me of like the days of the $5 foot long. Rest in peace of the $5 foot long. But just he got a misdemeanor assault charge, but he beat the case. He beat the case. Okay, let's hear from Sean Charles Dunn, because this has been making me laugh all day.
Firstly, I'd like to thank especially Sabrina, Julia, and Nick.
There's your lawyers.
Countless hours, and the rest of the team at Steptoe. And I would like to thank Steptoe for offering all of their services pro bono.
Feeding me.
I would like to thank family and friends and strangers for all of their support, whether it was emotional or spiritual or artistic or financial. To the people that opened their hearts and homes to me, I am eternally grateful. And I am so happy that justice prevails in spite of everything happening. And that night I believe that I was protecting the rights of immigrants. And let us not forget that the Great Seal of the United States says e pluribus unum. That means from many, one. Every life matters, no matter where you came from, no matter how you got here, no matter how you identify. You have the right to live a life that is free. Thank you.
Sean, what is that?
Okay, so Yes, for the Latin out of many one. Okay. Um, so we found out a couple things, right? One, his lawyers represented him pro bono, which I didn't know. But that is, I think, just everybody's fed up. You know what I mean? Like that just speaks to the um, the attitudes and the collective, consciousness of the American people, right? Like even Tuesday's election, where it was just, completely blue. People are completely fed up. When you are attacking the exact same people who are paying taxes, this country was founded on the premise of no taxation or no representation, no taxation without representation. And listen, the Boston Tea Party happened for less. They were mad over tea. You know what I'm saying? Not denying people food, not, having lavish parties, the Great Gatsby parties, and while you're forcing people in our military and breadlines and forcing people to, work at TSA without being paid. And I saw one TikTok of this woman. This is just a side note, right? She was a white lady as well, but she worked at an army base in Germany with the kids. And she said that she not only didn't get paid, but she actually owed the government $500. And she said the other people, it was, varying amounts. She said one person got something that said they owed them like $2,000. And she said that, during a government shutdown, that'll happen. And typically, you have to call and, get everything sorted out to make sure that you're not in the red. But she's like, we're not getting paid, and this is ridiculous. She said that the military servicemen and women over in Germany um, looked to, the people to find out, what's going on. Are they going to get paid? They told them to go stand in bread, go seek the help of the German people. The Germans said, just like how you are in America, immigrants aren't allowed to partake in, services specifically set aside for German people, right? Every country has a duty to their citizens first. And I feel like, with this $40 billion, bailout to Argentina and, Trump demolishing the White House East Wing for the ballroom and throwing Great Gatsby parties, theme parties, simultaneously while, our military not only being sent to antagonize, you know, our own citizens within this country, but also not getting paid to do it. That is some nasty work. Do you hear me? Like, I think even the mustache man in Germany. Speaking of Germany, I think he at least paid the people who was performing the horrible acts. I have to choose my words carefully, but I'm just like, that is nasty. You asking people to go out to take time away from their families. I remember they sent the National Guard somewhere, one city, and Seth didn't have any place for them to stay. They were like sleeping outside or something, like, because you're getting, Sean Duffy, who's the Secretary of Transportation, he looks completely clueless. Planes falling out of the sky, collision course, they're shutting down airports left and right. He was on The Real World and MTV's Road Rules. That was where he was from. Pete Hegseth was a Fox News commentator. RFK Jr. has no idea what he's doing. The Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon, she has no idea what she's doing. She's talking about unions are bad and they're going to dismantle the Department of Education. It's just like, enough. Like, people are completely fed up. So much so that I feel like people who voted for Trump during the second election last year, in 2024, they voted Democratic this time. Because this is the first time we've ever had a Democratic, governor in Virginia. But Mississippi, one of the most conservative states and gerrymandered states, might I add, because it's also the blackest state in the country. but one of the most gerrymandered, that flip blue, New Jersey flip blue, Georgia flip blue. You know what I mean? Like, and then we have Zoran Mandani, because people are just completely fed up with paying those, outrageous New York prices. I mean, I love New York. It is the economic hub of the world, the biggest city, the city that doesn't sleep, but the prices are ridiculous. And the people, they came out and they spoke up and they spoke out and they did what they were supposed to do. This Subway sandwich man was just, I feel like, his frustration, he said he did it for the immigrants. I don't know. But I just feel like it was a physical representation of, people are at their breaking points. Because first of all, like I said, that Subway sandwich was probably $10 or more. Long gone are the days of the $5 foot long. But, and not that $10 is a whole lot of money, but I'm saying, with food costs increasing, I'm sure he was probably hungry, but his frustration override his hunger that day. I mean, you know how fed up and frustrated you have to be to hit somebody with a Subway sandwich. I'm sorry, y'all. Every time I think about it, and then he was found not guilty, and his lawyers were working for him pro bono. I'm telling y'all, it's a new day. It is a new day. Somebody done fell out in Trump's office. I forget his name, but I hope that man is okay. Trump was just standing there. They was taking pictures. He just looked completely clueless. RFK Jr., he got the heck up out of Dodge. He said, let me get out of here before somebody asks me to do something. He said, I'm just playing the health secretary. I don't really have the background in this. I'm just a Kennedy with a worm in my brain and, roadkill in my freezer. I don't know how Cheryl Hines does it. She was on The View fighting for her life. Do you hear me? They was asking her questions about her husband. And she was just like, she was trying to promote her book, baby. She looked like a deer in headlights. But anyway, congratulations to Sean Charles Dunn, who beat the case for the Subway misdemeanor charge. I mean, do you know how, fed up you have to be to represent somebody pro bono because you agree with their sentiment that much? The lawyers don't even want to get paid. Lawyers usually are on it. They about their coins. Do you hear me? You can't even talk to them without a retainer, okay? But they represented him pro bono. I just feel like collectively, the country is fed up. And I know they thought that we were going to be in the streets protesting, but there are much better ways to protest, right? There's a mass boycott coming at the end of this month, starting, November 25th, I believe, through December 2nd. I'll definitely be participating in that. Mariah Carey done got on everybody's nerves. I already made a video about that, but people are still talking about it. Because Sephora, I'm probably not going to step foot back in Sephora. It's just, people are over celebrity culture, the parasocial relationships, the influencers, all of that is null and void when you have to focus on putting food on the table, right? Like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Shout out to, Psychology 101. When your basic, bottom of the pyramid needs are not met, food, water, safety, shelter. Wait, I don't even think I think safety is step 2 of the pyramid. I think it's food, water, using the bathroom, and shelter. That's at the bottom. Those are the things that you have to do. Those are needs, basic level. And he's taken away food from over 40 million people in this country, and playing around violent appeals and all that stuff. And it's crazy because JD Vance, he grew up on SNAP, on food stamps. That's the thing that kills me. Him, Clarence Thomas, you know what I mean? For him to replace Thurgood Marshall after everything that Thurgood Marshall has done for the Black people in this country, not even just Black folks, right? For everybody, because there would be no, immigrants coming here making a better life for themselves without Thurgood Marshall and the Civil Rights Act. But for Clarence Thomas to just use his position as a Supreme Court justice to literally make life so much harder for the people who look like him. I know he probably doesn't see his own reflection looking back at him in the mirror, but it's so disgraceful. And for JD Vance to, be filing appeals to take food out of babies' mouths, especially in the month of Thanksgiving, when that's the program that kept you fed, like that level of hypocrisy, it makes me, understand why Sean Dunn took that Subway sandwich across the chest of the officer. Not that I'm condoning it, because I don't condone violence, but I understand. And so did his lawyers, and so did the people who found him not guilty. People are tired, they are fed up. Everything is too high, the quality is ridiculous. And just the way that they're running this country into the ground is just like, we need change and we need it fast. So I'm really hoping everybody goes out and votes. In the midterms in 2026 is coming up. We only got 2 more months left of this year, really a month and a half if we're going to keep it a buck, because it's already November 7th. And it's going, be 2026 before we know it. And so we really need for people to come out like they did for these local elections. I mean, child, the people of Kentucky, shout out to the people of Kentucky who wanted to vote. So much so, they had to be told on social media that Kentucky doesn't have their elections until next year. But I'm like, that's the spirit I'm talking about, right? That is the initiative. That is the civic engagement that I'm looking for. You know what I mean? When you start messing with people's, like I said, basic fundamental needs to eat, to drink clean water, they rolled back those, environmental protections. Planes, like I said, fall out the sky. They're not paying people, and they're laying. Here's the thing, right? They're not paying the military. The airport workers are being furloughed, as what, and laying off thousands of people, and everything is going through the roof, sky high with inflation and tariffs and stuff. Like, that is the perfect storm. And like I said, I know they wanted us out in the streets so they could enact martial law, but people are smarter, wiser, they're more organized this time, and they're taking it to the ballot box, which is exactly where you need to have your voice heard. Because, listen, if you get locked up and become a felon, you won't be able to vote. But we have a 34 count felon running the White House, the commander in chief. Make it make sense. I'm telling you, America is not a serious country, but hopefully we can turn it around, so we don't have to have people like Sean Dunn hitting officers across the chest with a Subway sandwich, and having attorneys having to represent him pro bono, and the people find him not guilty. It's not funny, but I understand. You know what I'm saying? Like, that level of frustration. But that takes time out of people's day, life, jury duty. Like, let's not waste the court's, time and money. Don't hit anybody. Like I said, only a person who looked like Sean could get away with something so ridiculous. But the fact that he did that further lets me know the temperature of the American people right now. So you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please be sure to like the video. Make sure that y'all vote in the 2026 midterms, and I will talk with you in the next one. Take care, Aces. Bye.